Hello and welcome to Unacademy. I welcome you all to the second session of Conquer Prelims of History in News. Now, if you remember, yesterday we had a very interesting and extensive discussion of 18 to 19 topics. In a way, if we take into account the embedded topics, close to 25 to 30, related to art and culture and modern India, a mix of ancient, and even we discussed the timeline itself. So, good evening to all of you. Today, we have to continue our discussion. Yesterday, it was from Jan to June. Today, it is about July to December, thereby completing 1 year roundup of art and culture or history in news in that regard. Now, for the students who have been looking for the PDF or PPT of the session itself, it will be available in a link which is given in the description box. I will also ask the team to pin that link into the live chat itself so that you can find it. And further to understand one thing, it takes an hour to update it, but it does get updated into it. So please do use that link to find all the PDFs in that regard. That is the proper way of getting it. That is a proper protocol of getting it in that regard. So if we look at the topics which we are going to cover, tangible, intangible, two editions have been there. Deepavali, Maratha military landscape, will discuss it. But this session, as I told you yesterday itself, is more about anniversaries, meaning after a certain point, we will discuss, because 2025 would mark 200th, 100th, 150th anniversary of multiple personalities and events. We will do that. We will cover it, and we will try to make sure that you have a basic understanding, because we can expect a question in the examination out of it. And other than that, I also have a mix of other topics which were generally important. The second list of GI tags will be shared with you today again, and we will also discuss certain schemes. So as yesterday, the protocol remains the same. We will do three things: we will learn, we will revise, and there are questions for you in this session itself. So I hope that you are going to engage equally as you did yesterday, and the next 1.5 hours is going to be fruitful, and you will learn everything here itself. I want you to learn in this session so that you don't have to revise it anywhere else. Okay, before we start, remember that the URTS is going to be available. It is available through the link in the description box. It is going to be a physical form of a paper which is going to reach you, along with what are called as the OMR sheets. This is going to give you an understanding of how the examination happens. It's a very well documented and very well created, you can say, product for a self experience or self evaluation in that regard of how the examination happens. So you can use the link in the description box to order something like this if you find it useful. If you are in a city where you cannot simulate the exam experience, sometimes only going for online tests does not really create the right pressure on you for a hard copy. This is your hard copy solution. This is your offline experience online in that regard. Now, Rohit will do that, don't worry. Now let's start with Deepavali. So, intangible and tangible list. I hope you understand the difference also. Intangible is any form of culture, any form of skill, which is something which could be lost because human culture or that community itself becomes obscure. There was an inscription here. Tangible list is World Heritage Site list, which we'll discuss also. So both these aspects will be discussed. So first is intangible list. I can start, right? Everybody's on the same page with me. Yes, I want everybody's yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Let's go for a burst of 1.5 hours and get everything sorted. Yes, sir. Very good. Okay. So let me have the chat box also in front of me so that I can figure this out. Yes, very good. Now intangible, as I said, is a list which tries to protect culture, performative arts, skills. But every intangible heritage also has a tangible form because it would express itself in something. Now, unlike the tangible list, which is World Heritage Site list, here there is no tentative list concept. No tentative list concept. It is purely based on the concept of representative, non-representative, meaning either you are a part of it or you are not. Nikki, you are here with me. We'll revise to the current affairs. Don't worry. It's all about repetition. Now, This year's UNESCO Intangible Committee had a special, you can say, emphasis in our history itself because it happened in New Delhi in the Red Fort. And Deepavali, the festival of light, was inscribed into the representative list of the intangible cultural humanity of 2025. So 2025, the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, Deepavali was added. Now we have to understand why, why, and at the same point of time, what are the aspects which make it so unique that it was added. That is where the why comes from. Now, India had nominated it for the 24-25 cycle, but do understand one thing. This is a very important point. One nomination is allowed every 2 years. Though every year something will be added because India had nominated previously quite a lot. Only one nomination can happen every 2 years. This is a very important point you have to understand. Every 2 years, one nomination. It may not be added that year, may be added out of sync. That is why India has got additions every year as of right now. But nomination only once every 2 years and of one category. Now, herein lies the importance of the festival itself. Kartik Amavasya, most of us know this, and UNESCO added it to the intangible heritage list. Why? Because it is considered to be a living tradition which fosters social bonds, supports traditional craftsmanship, generosity, and they quoted the SDGs. This is very important. They quoted SDG 1, 3, 5, and 11, saying that all of these SDGs are actually met because of the festival itself. So, be it traditional livelihood, social bonding, women artisans, or cultural continuity, all of these aspects were linked to the Deepavali festival. Therefore, you have to understand one thing. It is not just about the festival itself, the mythology behind it, or the significance itself. It is also about sustainable development goals. You should remember this 1, 3, 5, 11, an aspect of sustainable development goals also coming through. Now, with regards to your preparation, intangible heritages are generally important because the list is short. I have a map here for you. It is a short list. What I mean by that is, unlike tangible heritages, which is very long, this is a list of 16. And each of these intangible heritages have certain significance in the larger culture of India, but some are also associated with states. For example, Kalbeli, Rajasthan, Garba, Gujarat, which was the last major edition, then Kudiyattam and Modiyattu from Kerala, the Thatheras of Jandela Guru, Punjab, Ladakh Buddhist chanting, Raman, Uttarakhand, Ram Leela, which is associated with UP, Kumbh Mela, which is associated with 4 states in that regard, and Chao dance, which is for the eastern sector, Durga Puja of specifically Kolkata, Sankirtana of Manipur. Other than that, Vedic chanting, Navaroz, Yoga, and Deepavali, these are non-state specific. Meaning they can ask a question, very simple, straightforward question, based on match the following. I'm telling you what is the purpose of this discussion. Please understand this point very clearly, that match the following question can come with regards to intangible heritage and state. They have previously asked Sankirtan as a statement based question. It was an easy question per se, but we can get a match the following question also. So please do understand one thing. This is a list which should be on your fingertips. Chronology of recognition mostly does not matter, Manisha, other than the fact that last 3 major editions should be known. Kumbh Mela, Durga Puja, Garba, and now Deepavali. Don't have to go through the whole list per year. Chronology does not matter. Kumbh Mela was the 4th. Then you had Durga Puja. Then you have Garba, and now you have Deepavali. If you can learn this, latest edition is going to be Deepavali. So please do understand one thing very clearly, that this list is something which should be in your focus, has to be taken into consideration, and cannot be ignored. Meaning you can ignore very big lists such as folk dances or folk music. But this list is bare minimum foundational understanding. So this is the first point which I meant to make. This topic itself is very small. Deepavali added to intangible heritage. List is equally small. So let's try to do a question on this topic and solidify everything and move on to the next one. Okay, come on. Tell me the answer to this question. I will not read it. As you know, I am doing this because I want you to read, understand, and answer. So read it closely, right? DB mostly. Okay, mostly B. Some of you are saying D. Some D. Yoga is not specific to a state. It's a living tradition. Okay. It has been inscribed into the tentative list. Incorrect. There's no concept of tentative list here. It is representative list. One incorrect. Automatically you get the answer. Yes and yes. They could have played with this also. They could have played with this also. So remember, intangible, let's revise. Intangible, Deepavali, and 16 list of intangible heritages, only representative list, no concept of tentative. Can we move to the next topic? Everyone on the same page with me? Yes, sir. Okay, now the second topic is a nomination. See, yesterday, if you were with me in the session of history news, I explained to you a very interesting concept of the heritage list, which is tangible heritage list. If you remember, I told you that there's a concept that if a country wants to basically add something to the representative list, it first has to add it to the tentative list. Then when it adds it to the tentative list, the inventory is ready. This inventory is then taken into consideration for representative list. And you nominate different sites out of the tentative list for the representative list. This is what we discussed yesterday also. Now, one site which had been inscribed into the tentative list in 1998 was nominated for 25-26 cycle, and that is Sarnath. Meaning Sarnath was added in 1998, but since then was never nominated for the representative list. That makes this a important site, most probably maybe the latest edition for anybody who's preparing for 27-28. Now, why is Sarnath so important? Has been the tentative list, remember, since 1998. Sarnath represents Dharma Chakra Parivartana, which is the moment where Buddha gave his first sermon and the wheel of Dharma or the wheel of Dhamma turned. Name is derived from Sagarnatha, which is the lord of the deer. Deer again is an animal associated with Buddha. It's an important Buddhist site. Very important Buddhist site as part of the larger concept of enlightenment of Buddha, and thereafter, in a way absorbing the concept of Dhamma being propagated via Buddha and the 5 original disciples. But there is a list of monuments which are associated with Sarnath. Dhemek Stupa, Dharmarajika Stupa, the Ashokan pillar at Sarnath, the stupas generally with the viharas and chaityas, and a very interesting stupa which stands there, which is called Chaukhandi Stupa. What does Chaukhandi Stupa mean? See, this is the Dhemek Stupa. If you have done ancient medieval art and culture with me, I teach this as part of the stupas. It is a it is an exception. Why? Because stupas have a very standard design of anda along with harmika, along with yashti and chhatra, and thereafter we have the torana and the boundary wall around a stupa. Right? So we have anda, the medhi, the stairs going up, production path, the anda, the harmika, the yashti and the chhatra, also called chhatra fully, and we have the torana along with the what we call as suchi and vedika. Now, this is an exception because it's a cylindrical stupa. Does not have an harmika, does not have a what we call as yashti or chhatra. And why? Because this stupa represents, if you look at it from the top, it is a cylinder, therefore it represents a circle. And a circle therefore represents the dharma chakra or the chakra of dharma moving. That is why they made it in a different design altogether. The design was to represent the wheel of dhamma moving, the wheel of dharma moving, which is representing the first sermon of Buddha. That is why Dhemek Stupa generally is considered as an important. Sarnath Stupa called Dhemek Stupa is generally important. Thereafter, we have also other stupas which are in ruins because of the destruction which happened during the Delhi Sultanate period. But we have the bases and we have a lot of viharas and different forms of what we call as chaityas in and around Sarnath, which tells us that it's a very important Buddhist site. But there are two things which bring Sarnath into the focus and is generally very important for your understanding, which is first is that the Sarnath capital, wherein we have the lower abacus, the upper abacus, and the capital figure. Out of this, this is the emblem or the national emblem or the emblem of the government of India. The 4 line configuration along with the dharma chakra and the animals which are there on the upper. The lower abacus is not taken into consideration, which is called as the inverted lotus. But what is even more interesting is that there is a stupa over which a octagonal tower is made. This is called Chaukhandi Stupa. Now this makes Sarnath even more interesting because it links it with the Mughal heritage. Todarmal's son Govardhan, when Humayun visited this site when he was going for the Battle of Chausa, he commissioned this octagonal tower over the stupa to celebrate the visit of Humayun. And that is where Chaukhandi Stupa commemorates the visit of Humayun in 1539, though it will be built only in 1588 by Govardhan, son of Todarmal, in order to add an element of Mughal design over it. So that way it is quite interesting that Humayun, Todarmal, Govardhan and Mughal history is also linked to this site, which shows continuity. The idea that we cannot ignore this site just as an ancient India site. It is also related to medieval history. So rightly it deserves its spot in the representative list. Let us see what happens in the next meeting itself. But for you now, you have a lot of information in the, you can say, basic understanding of UPSC universe, which you need to remember and know. Now let's solve a question to see if you have absorbed the information which I have given you. Okay, come on. What is the answer to this question? For the students who are answering A, same ball, same batsman, outside off stump, same drive, clean bowled. Yesterday also, third question. Today also, third question. Second or third question rather. So answer here is incorrect. Answer is C, not A. You knew the answer, but you marked it incorrectly. It is not Brihadratha who made this. It is Mauryan Emperor Ashoka who built the stupa. Brihadratha is one of the last. He's not a Buddhist. He's per se, you can say Hindu Vedic Brahmanistic in that regard. Chaukhandi stupa did not commemorate visit of Akbar, but Humayun. But as I said, if you're doing the same mistake twice, then you're not learning from your mistakes. Same mistake. Everybody who answered A is correct, but it is incorrect question, so therefore answer becomes C. So please be vigilant. The word is, you should know that you sometimes read questions in haste. That is why I'm not reading the question. Very categorically not reading the question. And one of you actually wrote in the third, you can say, comment itself, it is incorrect. Still people went with the answer. Okay. If you have rectified, very good. Very good. Now, we have discussed two major concepts here. Sarnath, tentative list edition, 1998, nominated. Deepavali, intangible representative list. Everybody on the same page with me? No issues whatsoever? Okay. Now, in the year 2025, for the cycle of 2024-25, the latest addition into the World Heritage List is Maratha military landscape. If you remember, last year in 2024, one of the earliest videos which I did after Ayodhya was Maratha military landscape. The reason for that was that it was nominated that year, 2024. And in 2025, it has been added also, inscribed also. So now this becomes important, and it's a fact heavy area. Very fact heavy area, because it has lot of, you can say, nuances and subtexts. So the latest edition for this year, for you as a 2026 aspirant, the latest edition is Maratha military landscape. And Maratha military landscape means this, which is 12 forts, 11 of them in Maharashtra, 1 in Tamil Nadu. And what is interesting is that all of these sites are not the same. All of them are not the same. Meaning, firstly, 8 of them are managed by ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, and 4 of them are managed by the Archaeology Department of Maharashtra. But what is even more interesting, with Shivneri, Lohagarh, Raigad, Suvarnadurg, Pahalna, Vijayadurg, Sindhudurg, Gingi, and Salher, Rajgarh, Khanderi, and Pratapgarh, what is interesting is this. This is a very important slide for you. I have been saying this for the past 3 to 4 sessions. Wherever I have discussed this concept, I have for sure talked about this in quite a lot of detail. All of these sites are not similar. Salher, Shivneri, Lohagarh, Raigad, Rajgarh, and Gingi are hill forts, meaning they are on a hill. Pratapgarh is a hill forest fort, meaning it is a small hill in a full forest where the Pratapgarh hill forest fort is there. Thereafter, Palhana is a hill plateau fort. Vijayadurg is a coastal fort. And then the 3 most important nodes which made the Marathas one of the most important, you can say, powers in the Arabian Sea itself: Khanderi, Suvarnadurg, Sindhudurg. Khanderi, Suvarnadurg, Sindhudurg. The trick to remember this is first learn the island forts. K, Su, Si, Shushik. Because there is no other fort which is starting with a K. So learn these first. Thereafter, rather than learning this, which is a longer list, learn the ones which are out of sync, which is Pra, Fo, Pan, Pla, and Vico. Vico Bharjananti, Vico. Don't learn the longer list. If you can remember this, then you can automatically eliminate this. Why am I saying that you write the first two words? Because that would allow you to not confuse, for example, Shivneri Salhar, because we have SA also, SH also. So if you want to remember this, you have to just make a mnemonic. You can make a better one. You can make a more ridiculous one. The more comical it is, the better you will remember. Right? So this is something which you should know. Further going on, if it works, very good. Further, we should also do a basic survey of each of these forts. For example, Lohagad is not a site which Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj himself started or constructed. It was something which is linked to the Chalukyas, went through multiple hands and was taken by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in 1648. But Lohagad is generally important. If you look at the fort itself, you can see how the fort itself, it has a very bird's eye view across the landscape, the Western Ghats in that regard. At the same point of time, Suvarnadurg is the first major fort which is on water. Remember this point, that the forts which are on water act as very important, you can say, gates into the Indian subcontinent, specifically the Konkan coast. And in a space where the Portuguese are also actually active, and later the Dutch and the English will also come through, this played as a very important impediment in a quick, you can say, victory in this sector. Again, taken from by defeating Adil Shah, and it was given to Khanoji Angre, who is considered to be the Shivaji of the sea. It was one of the major naval forts of the Marathas. Thereafter, Sindhu Durg is the second node along with Kanderi. Three, it is a triangulation in that regard. Sindhu Durg and along with that Suvarna Durg and Khanderi together played a very important role in triangulating everything. This site again was laid, the foundation stone was laid by the Marathas itself and supervised by Hiroji Indulkar. Now, a fort which used to supply to these three is Vijayadurg. Vijayadurg is the coastal fort which was taken from Bijapur, and this used to supply to Suvarnadurg, Sindhudurg and Khanderi. So the node was Vijayadurg. Vijayadurg used to then supply to all three coastal fort. And Khanderi you can go today because there's an observatory there. You can take a ferry from Gateway of India for this. And it was again a very important fort to manage the Portuguese, the Europeans, and even the what we call as the Gujarati fleet of Bahadur Shah. So, Vico Shushik. This is where you have to remember these four generally. Thereafter, Palhala is a plateau, hill plateau, and this was again under Bahmanis, Gawan, and later taken by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Pratapgarh is one of the most important forts in this whole set because it has the river Neera, Koyna, and the Par Pass. If you want to control the Par Pass in the Western Ghats, you have to control Pratapgarh. Meaning, if you control this sector, you are for sure going to control this whole sector generally. Generally, Pratapgarh, whoever controls Pratapgarh, controls the Par Pass. Last two, Salher. This has been in the news quite a lot. Nowadays, it has become a very popular trek. It is because on the second highest peak of this sector, Salher is a very important trek. You must have seen Instagram reels and a lot of videos where people doing vertical climb. This is one of the most impregnable forts of the Marathas. Very difficult to breach because the climb is literally vertical like this. And going up is equally difficult. Coming down with the Western Ghats and the monsoon is even more difficult. One wrong step and you will straight away reach to the bottom automatically. That is the power of this fort, and imagine how the Marathas constructed something like this. Then we have the very important site of Shivneri, where Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was born himself, and then the two capitals of the Marathas, Rajgarh, which was capital for 26 years, and then under Shambhaji Maharaj it will move to Raigad. Rajgarh, Raigad. Please remember, Raj 26 साल की, Raj करे, 26 Raj. Rai was the second capital. Remember this point. Because if you mix it up in the examination, a simple straightforward concept, don't have to remember the years. A very simple straightforward question will go out. Raj 26 Rai. Remember it like this also. So Raj 26 Rai. Remember this. Wherever UPSC has very similar concepts, it plays with the UPSC aspirants. It has a habit of doing that. Now, the last fort in this set, the 12th, is not in Maharashtra, not in the Western Ghats or the Vindhya Satpura range. It is in a very interesting sector of a plain area with one mountain in the middle. It's called Gingi. Gingi is a fort if you control that in Tamil Nadu. Moving towards, if you move from towards you can say Pondicherry, it comes in the way. Gingi is a fort if you control it. You control 20-25 kilometers of the whole sector, because then it is very difficult for you to come as an enemy without not getting noticed, because Gingi fort has two sections. One is on the top and one is on the bottom. Top you can see 20-25 kilometers, which is a very big range in that regard. So Gingi fort, that was quite important. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj himself used to say, one of the most difficult forts to break in India generally. So what we've discussed till this point is there are 12 forts, 11 of them are in Maharashtra, one is in Tamil Nadu. We have Shushik, we have Vico, the most easiest to remember, and over and above that, we have the Pratapgarh, Pan, Pal or Pla, and yes, Panpla Hill Fort. It is a forest fort. So, and Raj 26 Rai. Just to show it to you again. Prafo, Panpal, Vico, Shushik, 26, what we call as Raj 26 Rai. Now, I want to test this knowledge of yours. I'll give you a minute. Look at this. I want to test your knowledge. I have a question, but I'm giving you a minute to remember it. If you are ready, if you think, okay, sir, perfectly fine, you tell me. Yes means yes, we can go ahead. Yes. Ready? Very good. Okay. So let's test it. I am ready. Again, Prafo, Panpal, Vico, Shushik, this automatically become hill forts. Right? Okay, let's test the knowledge. The question is easy, but let's see. Come on. This is for reinforcement in a way. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't go by the trend which is coming in the chat box. It could be wrong also. Great. Shushik, Vico, Pratfo, Panpal, Panpla, whatever you want to call it. This is, please revise this. Now 3 times I've done it. I hope you will not forget it. If you remember this session, if you remember maybe the mnemonics, somewhere in the examination, this may help you if the question comes. Right? If the question comes. Right? Okay. Now, moving out of the first 3 topics, which were generally UNESCO, we discussed UNESCO intangible, in which Deepavali was there. And then we moved to tangible, nomination of Sarnath, and thereafter second topic was the addition of Maratha military landscape into this. This is what we've discussed. Now we move out of this sector to the Santhali language, which was in the news. And once we have done Santhali language, we will go into the you can say one whole discussion on anniversaries. So we'll have personalities, events. I will give you a brief of them. I'll give you all the facts in one place so you don't have to worry generally. Right? Uh, Ketki, this is a more consolidated resource. That is a more expansive resource. You can use whatever you want. Whatever you want. Okay. Now, why the Santhali language was in the news was because the president recently released the Constitution of India in the Santhali language, and its official script is called as Old Chiki script. Now, two things come into focus. Santhali language, when was it added to the 8th schedule, and what is Old Chiki script? Now, the Santhali language is considered to be one of the oldest languages in India with regards to Santhali tribal community. And it was primarily written in Old Chiki, but you can write Santhali in Bengali script also, Odia script also, Devanagari also, and in Latin script also. Meaning it's a multi. I hope that you know the difference between script and language, but I will still repeat it without assuming that you don't know it or don't know it. Remember, script is the writing system, meaning could be syllabic, could be alphabetic, could be symbol based. One language can be written in multiple scripts. Language is the phonetical system, meaning I'm speaking English right now. You can make out that it is English because you know what this sound means. I'll give you a very simple example of what is a script and what is a language. For example, this is the same language in 2 scripts. This is Hindi in Devanagari, and this is in Roman English. For example, you can also write my name in different scripts. So this is Roman English script, but in Portuguese and English. And this is in Devanagari. Language, originally name given in Hindi. So the same language can be written in multiple scripts. And a script can be used to write multiple languages also. So understand one thing very clearly, that languages are not bound by script. Scripts are not bound by languages. Meaning, script is the writing system. This is the old Chiki writing system. At the same point of time, the language system can be written in another script also. So in Portuguese, Abhishek is written like this. QU is K. That is why a lot of people say Albuquerque. Right? Albuquerque. Alfonso de Albuquerque bolte hain. It's not Albuquerque, it's Albuquerque. क्योंकि QUE is K. नीनो दे कुन्हा. कुन्हा बोलते हैं ना, कुन्हा. वो कुन्हा नहीं है, न, ये न्या होता है. कुन्या. And LH is Lear. So simple small concepts of Portuguese language which make it very interesting, that Albuquerque ni Albuquerque. So The idea is very simple, that language and script play with different concepts. So old Chiki script is a script which can be used to write other languages also, but it is the official language which is generally used for Santhali. Now, Old Chiki was developed in 1925 by a person called Raghunath Murmu. What is an important point here is, yeah, Fahayan is the same concept. Hyun Sang, Huin Zhang, Huang Zhang. लिखा होगा ना ह्यून सैंग वान जैंग wan sang is all because of the different pronunciations, right? So old Chiki, one point you should remember is in what direction is it written, because direction would decide is it similar to Devanagari English or is it not similar to Devanagari English, which is it is written from left to right. The way English is written, left to right, left to right. Arabic script is written right to left. So remember, it is Santhali language, Santhali promotion of identity, Raghunath Murmu, and written left to right, has close to 30 letters, 24 consonants, 10 digits, and 6 vowels. Does not matter to us so much detail, but I'm basically giving you the idea. At the same point of time, Santhali language is spoken across multiple, you can say, states in India, Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Bihar. However, it is the 92nd Amendment Act of 2003 which added it into the 8th schedule. And in Jharkhand and West Bengal, it is a scheduled language and also an official status is given to it. So remember this point. Close to 70 lakh people speak the Santhali language as per census of 2011, and Santhali language itself is not, in a way, you can say, threatened by the process of conservation and preservation, but it is still important. At the same point of time, Jharkhand, West Bengal recognize it in official status. It is also one of the languages in the 8th schedule. Old Chiki, left to right, and is Raghunath Murmu, and linked to the concept of Santhali identity. All clear, everyone? Come on. All clear? Yes, sir. Okay, so then solve this question for me. Come on, come on, come on. There is no G option. Now, this question right now seems very easy. In the context of examination will become difficult. Here you have noticed it says right to left, but in the exam you may not notice something like this. This is incorrect statement. The answer is 1 and 3 only. Yes, 8 schedule and official status in Jharkhand and West Bengal. But remember this point. Right to left, left to right matters. Small change in this could lead to the statement to become correct and incorrect. But most of you are today on fire. Most of you are paying attention. So answer is 1 and 3. Perfect. Great. Now we enter a zone where we'll be discussing anniversaries. Meaning, I very categorically looked at 4 indicators. Right? 200th, 150th, 100th. This is where the anniversary of a person or play of an event would fall in colonial history or will fall in either our early modern or modern. So anywhere where this criteria was getting ticked, I have taken that moment. Remember, self-respect movement also falls under this category, 1925. But the problem is that self-respect movement has already been asked. Meaning in 2025, we already had a question on E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar and self-respect movement. So Periyar came this year, therefore I have not taken that into consideration, so I'm not adding it. I know that it is self-respect movement is also there, but they've already asked a question in 2025. right? So 2025, 26. This is 200th, 150th, and 100th anniversary of the following events. Now, the first is obviously of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, one of the most important statesmen in India. We are India as we are today in its physical form only because of this person, the Iron Man of India. He, you can say in pre-colonial also, rather in pre-independence and post-independence period, played a very important role, a Gandhian leader and a person who sacrificed quite a lot for the nation. Unlike any random politician who would squabble and fight, he knew what India needed. He knew his role in this story, in the nation building of India itself. So Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Now what I'll do, I'll give you basic facts. Not every fact has to be learned, but I'm giving you the basic facts so that if UPSC makes questions on any of them, we will discuss it. For example, see, born in 1875, that is why 150th, in Gujarat, did his barristership or law study from the Middle Temple in England, and Ahmedabad became a very successful barrister or lawyer. This is his personal history. Please don't have to do a thesis, but I'm giving you all the major, you can say, influences which was also on him with regards to his father being a Vaishnavite and also having the Pushti Mark sect, a certain Vaishnavite sect within this sector having an influence on him. At the same point of time, now the next most important set is the dates and the years which are associated with him. Please pay attention to this. Now, first is 1917, then it is 1918, then it is 1924 to 28 period, then it is 1928 generally, 1931, 1942. These are the dates which generally are there. Paras, it is a complete resource. If you want to read it, you can use that. The point is either you read 2000 pages or you read 600 pages. That is the difference. Yes, it will remove the FOMO also. The FOMO is that once you go through Spectrum, you will realize all the important points are already there. So you have to trust the process. Now, 1917 is the year in which he became sanitation commissioner in Ahmedabad. He will also become what is called as secretary to the Gujarat Sabha, which will later get associated with Gandhi. Same point of time, it is Kheda Satyagrah, where he, along with his brother Vallabhbhai Patel and Vittalbhai Patel, will become very important in Gandhian understanding. At the same point of time, 1924 to 28, he was the chairman of Ahmedabad municipality, and he was initially a part of the no changers category when Gandhi gave an understanding. When Gandhi gave an understanding that I support the Swarajist, he then also contested elections. Then 1928 is Bordoli Satyagrah, where he gets his Sardar name, that title of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Bordoli. Thereafter, 31 is the Karachi session. Karachi session is generally important because here the fundamental rights plus national economic policy along with Gandhi and Irwin Pact, all three were adopted under his presidentship. And last but not the least is 1942 Quit India, where he will get arrested once he will accept the Quit India resolution. So there are certain dates which are associated with him, but he appears in our story in Kheda. In any standard book, his name will be first mentioned for Kheda. So 1917, Gandhian political campaign, secretary of Gujarat Sabha, and also Sanitation Commission of Ahmedabad. 24 to 25, chairman of the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. 31, president of the INC, Karachi session. And 1928, Bardoli Satyagrah. 42, quit India. So remember this point, that these dates can be asked in some way or the other. Can be asked in some way or the other in the examination. All of these now become relevant for the examination because it is linked to Vallabhbhai Patel. Now, UPSC can frame a question where it can play with the dates also, it can play with the events also, and you can get a question like this. But before that, his post independence legacy is based on the fact that he stopped India from being balkanized. At the same point of time, father of Indian civil services. And today, what we see as IS and IPS, the services as they are, the steel frame of India, is because of Patel himself. So, solve this question and let's see if you have paid attention to the finer details. As I said, I can do a half an hour session on Patel, but I don't have to do that. We are having a prelims oriented discussion. I am ready to give you all the facts in one consolidated space so that you can solve the questions easily in the examination. I hope you understand the purpose of this discussion. Any of these topics I can discuss for a very long time, from Arya Samaj to anything and everything, I can do that. Okay, very good. A, D. A is correct. Sardar was not given after Kheda, after Bardoli Satyagrah. Yes, he was a president when Karachi session happened. For the PDF and PPTs of this session, the link is already, you can say in the live chat, it is pinned. You have to follow the link within the next, once I finish at, for example, 9 o'clock, by 10, it will be there. Don't have to worry. Yes, 1928 also. Very good. Okay. Now moving from Vallabhbhai Patel to his brother Vithalbhai Patel. Vithalbhai Patel was the first speaker, if you want to call him, first speaker of the Central Legislative Assembly, and it is the 100th anniversary of him becoming the president. President basically is the office of the speaker of the Central Legislative Assembly under British rule. Now, Vithalbhai Patel, he again born 1873, 2 years older to Vallabhbhai Patel, practiced law, went to England again, but his career has a totally different set of years. If I put his years here, 1912, 1918, 1924, 1925, 1930. Much shorter list that way. 1912 is the year he will become the member of the Bombay Legislative Council, which is basically the PLC, Provincial Legislative Council. Then 1918, he will become the member of the Imperial Legislative Council. And by 1924, he will become the member of the Central Legislative Assembly. And he will hold this position till 1930. And at the same point of time, 1925, he will become the president of the PLA, which is rather the Central Legislative Assembly. This one, that is where he becomes a speaker for the first time. And in 1930, he will resign to follow political career. 1922 to 24 period, 23 to 24 period, he is also part of the Swarajists, part of C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru's camp. So Vithalbhai Patel, Vallabhbhai Patel on different camps in that regard. So if we go by his career, 1912, Bombay Legislative Council, Imperial Legislative Council, Central Legislative Assembly. Thereafter, 1925, 22nd August, he is going to become the member of the president, first Indian to do so, and 100th year happened this year or last year per se, and he will then resign in 1930. So important years in that regard. So I have given you two sets of dates for Vallabhbhai Patel and for Vittalbhai Patel. For him, the year profile goes from 1917, 18, 24 to 28, 28, 31, 42. For him, it is 1912, then 18, 22, 24, 25, 30. I am writing it on one sheet so that you can remember it. Member of the Swarajist party, yes, Swaraj party. So please remember, these dates can be asked not per se in dates but in chronological order. So they can be asked generally. So yes, I'm saying that he's part of the Swarajist party, C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru, but C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru are more important partners in this story than Vittalbhai Patel. But as I said, we are focusing on his political career, not the Swarajist angle. He's part of the Swarajist, and Vallabhbhai Patel part of the No Changers. Right? Okay. Now, solve this question for me. I'm just playing on the dates here. Just playing on the dates. Come on. Perfect. This is your focus. Though UPSC generally does not give actively dates in the questions, I just wanted you to understand and play with this concept so that it was easy for you to remember. As I said, I will make you learn everything here so that you don't have to do this session again and everything is sorted. Right? Modern India, we have more details, therefore it becomes difficult to remember things also. Meaning we have a lot of questions which can be made here. Now, Vallabhbhai Patel, Vittalbhai Patel, two very important personalities, modern India. Now, Arya Samaj. Now, Arya Samaj, we have two very important anniversaries inbuilt into it. One is Arya Samaj 200th anniversary, and rather 150th anniversary, 200th anniversary of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. So here we have two sets of dates together, wherein 150th foundation day of Arya Samaj, 1875, and 200th birth anniversary of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. So important generally for the examination. So we now have to look at it from two prisms. Now I am going to ask a very simple question. Arya Samaj is revivalist, reformist? That will tell me if you have revised modern India or not. Revivalist, reformist? Come on, everybody has to answer. Revivalist. Yes. In the larger scheme of social reform movement, we have two categories, reformist and revivalist. Reformists say that the current form of religion is problematic, move forward. And revivalists say current form of religion is problematic, go to the original form, go back to the Vedas. That is why we have Arya Samaj as a revivalist movement. Perfect. Now, Arya Samaj was founded by Swami Dayanand Saraswati in 1875 in Bombay, which is the Bombay branch, or today called Mumbai, but Bombay branch. And it was having the following emphasis. And the emphasis was Vedas are important, rejected temple-based worship, which is called idol worship here, elaborate ritual sacrifices and social evils. It also practiced and promoted Vedic rituals. At the same point of time, it supported women's education, intercaste marriages, widow remarriage, schools, orphanages, and medical aid was given by this organization. Now, this is 150th year of Arya Samaj. Dayanand Saraswati born as Mool Shankar Tiwari, 1824, Gujarat, Brahmin priest family, then will live an ascetic life from age 19, will become a student of Swami Vrajanand, and then will try to reform and revive Vedic practices within Hinduism. He advocated the same things which Arya Samaj advocated because he is the one who founded it. And Satyat Prakash is a very important text compiled by him, which becomes the guiding light. Now, there is a subtext here also, meaning Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, and Arya Samaj, 1875 is one story. There's one more subtext here, which is the two branches which were known generally in basic texts and in standard texts. One is called as the Gurukul branch, and the other one is the Lahore branch. The Lahore branch is important because it gave birth to the DAV, Dayanand Anglo-Vedic Trust. And Gurukul branch is related to Swami Shraddhanand, who is related to Shuddhi movement. Related to the Shuddhi movement. So, Gurukul branch 1902 and DAV 1886, which in turn led to the DAV schools which you see today. Very, very, very important. Dayanand Anglo-Vedic Trust, which in turn led to Dayanand Anglo-Vedic schools. And Shuddhi movement, which was the concept of reconverting back people who had converted to other religions. So this is another tangent which can be asked in the examination. So 200th anniversary here, 150th anniversary here. This is the subtext. Pure social reform movement we are talking about, related to UPSC and related to what is called as modern India. So I told you today's emphasis is going to be different vis-a-vis yesterday. If you saw yesterday, we were more discussing ancient medieval art and culture areas. Today we are discussing more with regards to modern India. Now, solve this question for me, please. अच्छा ट्रिक समझ गया वेरी गुड C if it is correct, D if it is incorrect. I'll tell you why you noticed it. It was next to this. इधर होता ना तो नहीं दिखता. That is the catch here. It was in your general eyesight. That is why you got this correct. So, irrespective of that, please remember that this can also be a game which UPSC can play. Right? So, the only reason was that on basis of birth and it says incorrect. Same eye line. That is why. Okay. Now, moving on. The Paharia Rebellion, 250th anniversary. This is a rebellion which is generally an obscure rebellion when it comes to peasant, tribal and rebellions. But because it's the 250th, I will give you basic facts here so that you can learn it. And if a question comes on something like this, we are not caught off guard in the examination. So, the leader here is, his name is Raja Jagannath. First important fact, I'll underline it for you also. The reason why this rebellion happened was because when the British expanded agriculture into the Paharia area, they were now to give basically taxes also, permanent settlement was also brought in. So there was a lot of issues per se. And therein, the British initially brutally crushed the rebellion, later tried to pacify them by giving them allowances for what was generally happening. And the Paharias did not accept these allowances and waged war against the the British for a very, very long time. But this is 1778 period, which means initial phase. So it is basically they were outside the purview of taxation, outside the purview of agriculture, but they were now part of the agrarian cycle of the British. And when the British agriculture enters, it is going to be exploitative. It is going to destroy this sector generally, and therefore the British did try to pacify, did try to pacify. Maybe Shreya, that may be the case, but you should remember one thing: dates don't matter to UPSC. UPSC plays with chronology vis-a-vis events. I am trying to make you learn dates so that at least you will take something away from this session. Now, answer this question for me. If you remember this, wherever I believe that a topic is extremely important, I've made a question. How British started to destroy, which means that you have not done modern India. British, whenever they are going to enter through a certain land revenue settlement, they will always bring in to exploitative strategies. They did not use to extract, they used to exploit. They will take as much revenue as possible whilst adding nothing to agriculture, which in turn would lead to the destruction of the rural countryside and the agrarian cycle of that area for sure. This is what happened in permanent. Over assessment is, this is eastern sector. Over assessment is something which the British will do irrespective of anything. Perfectly fine, yes. Ultimately did not accept. एक did not की वजह से this is the answer. Perfectly fine. Right. If possible, we'll push polls, but that is not possible as of right now. Everybody's on the same page. Everything is perfectly fine. Alive. Yes, these questions are looking easy because you've just done the topic. Once I move out of this context and make you do the same questions after 15 days, it is going to be very difficult for you. Okay. Now, we then move to the Karnataka sector and Rani Chennamma. She was again in the news because of a commemorative coin which was issued by the government of India for what is called as the Kittur rebellion. Now, Kittur rebellion, she has again a very interesting story. Born 1778, married to the Maharaja of Kittur, and later the queen will become a regent. This area will in a way become one of the first templates of what is called as doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lapse has two provisions under it. One is called misgovernance, which was used for Awadh. Other is called if you don't have a naturally born son, your area will be annexed under doctrine of lapse. This is what happens here, wherein when her son dies, she adopts a male here, but that is not recognized by the British. When that is the earliest instance of doctrine lapse, she will not surrender. She will go for an armed rebellion, and though eventually she will have a victory, the British will later imprison her, and she will die in 1829. But she an example of a very important, what we call as a certain spirit which she embodies, where the British were trying to be very high-handed, and she said, I will not let that happen. The British will institutionalize doctrine of lapse after this episode. The basic principle is of doctrine of lapse only. So Rani Chennamma and doctrine of lapse, Kittur rebellion. So two rebellions now we are in focus: the Paharia, the Kittur one. At the same point of time, Vallabhbhai Patel, Vithalbhai Patel. That is what we've discussed along with Arya Samaj. Right? Now, I've given you these smaller details also. British officer, all of these I've given. I hope UPSC does not go this way, but I've given you the detail for sure. Right? Now, see, Manisha, what you're doing is you're overthinking. It looks illogical, but the problem is that the facts go directly against it. So don't read too much into it. That is why I made that statement like that. Don't read too much into the words. That will in turn lead to you to get a very simple straightforward question incorrect. Now, Again, a very towering personality, very important personality of this era, Bhagwan Birsa Munda. He again 150th anniversary, what we call as the Munda Rebellion, Uluglan Rebellion, very well known. Again, very standard concept within modern India. Very standard concept within modern India. Generally important. So we know that he was born in 1875. That is the 150th. He was born into a sharecropping family, very poor tribal family. Adivasi community of the Mundas he was born into. Now, three things you should know. First is basic story, which is that was under the guidance of Jaipal Nag. He tried to convert him into Christianity. He did not go through that. Chaibasa was the sector in which he operated from, and his influence of Christianity was rejected because of his own understanding of cultural identity of the Mundas. He will then be influenced by Vaishnavism and the Munda, you can say, belief system in that regard, and he will then go after the British because of the Khutkati system. So, what is called as the Khutkati land system, a system in which communal ownership of land was there. The British will come through, they will not recognize it, and they will go for proper exploitation. This will introduce money lenders and zamindars in this sector. The primary focus of the Uluglan uprising was zamindars and the what was the dikhus as they called, which is the outsiders. But unlike other tribal rebellions, Birsa Munda understood that the problem was not the intermediary but the British. This is a very important point you have to understand. The Munda and Santhal uprising both have one thing in common, which is that unlike peasant tribal rebellions before 1857, where most of the rebellions were trying to cut the branches of colonialism, they understood that the problem is not the branch, it is the trunk, which is colonialism itself. This point you should be very clear of, very clear of, because this is what makes him a charismatic leader. This is what makes him a very important personality in the larger scheme of things, where he understood what was happening. And this is where Birsa Munda, that is why Bhagwan Birsa Munda is still today remembered as a very important personality in the sector. Because if he was not there, they would not have understood what was actually happening. So we add to the personalities list of Vithalbhai Patel and Vallabhbhai Patel, also Bhagwan Birsa Munda. Thereafter, a very short topic, but a very interesting one. Who was the first woman to become the INC president? Anyone? Who was the first woman to become the IC president? Good. First woman to become the INC president is Annie Besant. But first Indian woman to become INC president, Kanpur session, is Sarojini Naidu. This is why we are having this discussion. 1925 session, 100 years. Remember in the examination, it should say first Indian or first woman. So first Indian woman was Sarojini Naidu. First woman was Annie Besant. So it is the 100 years of this Kanpur session also. So there can be something which UPSC can ask on this. In the presidential address, she gave a very famous line: "How shall I stir your hearts? The light that flames cannot die." The idea that we have to fight for the independence of India. So they can also quote this, the idea of being under fire. So this is again very significant. Remember Annie Besant and Sarojini Naidu. At the same point of time, we also have our last two major anniversaries in that regard. One which is extremely controversial and was in the news, which is Vande Mataram. They can ask her books for sure. They can ask her books for sure. Made very good point. Now there was a lot of controversy with regards to the Vande Mataram discussed in the parliament also. Now we will not go into the controversy part of it, but what becomes important is that what is the importance of this song, when was it adopted, when was it sung for the first time, all of that becomes important. Now when we talk about Vande Mataram, 150 years of, for the first time, Vande Mataram was trans published in 1875, and it was composed by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. At the same point of time, it was set to music by Rabindranath Tagore, and we have seen the first literary journal publishing of this is in the Bangla Darshan. Very important this, and then it will be then republished in Anandamath in 1882. So a story set for the Sannyasi rebellion. Yes, it is Bangla Darshan where the first time we see the song coming through. Now, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee himself is a very important personality of the Bengali Renaissance, as it is called, and a novelist, poet, essayist. He wrote multiple very important texts, such as Anand Math and others. I've given you the list here. Chadurani is also a very well known text of his. But what is important to us is that the first time Bande Matram was published, it was published in 1875 as part of a series of what is called as Anand Mat. Was actually not published as a novel first. It was actually published in a Bengali magazine called Bangla Darshan, one by one, as an, you can say, edition, and later it was compiled into Anand Mat in 1882. That is why we take this year as the year of the first. But in our story, it has even more importance because it will appear multiple times. First time sung in the 1896 Congress session by Rabindranath Tagore. Then in the Swadeshi movement, in the Banaras session, Vande Mataram will be adopted as the song for the INC and was used across the Swadeshi movement. Further, Madam Bikaji Kama, when she first unfurled the tricolor in 1907, again Vande Mataram were the words which were used and written on the flag. 1909, when Madanlal Dhingra shot Curzon Willie before he was put to the gallows and martyred, he again said the word Vande Mataram. 1909, again the Vande Mataram was a magazine which was actually published. Then in 1912, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, when he went to Cape Town, he again cried out Vande Mataram. What I want to say to you is, I have given you all the major instances where Vande Mataram gets connected to our history. From the first publishing, 1875, from it coming into Anandamath to Congress session first time sung, adopted Congress session, further Madam Bikaji Kama, Madanlal Dhingra, Vande Mataram the magazine, Gopal Krishna Gokhale in Cape Town. They can ask any of this instant in the examination thinking that you should know it. Now, Bande Mataram is total 6 paragraphs. The song is total 6 paragraphs, out of which only 2 are sung because they are about the motherland and the, you can say, the yearning for the motherland. The next four are related to the goddess Lakshmi, Parvati, and Durga. That is why it was dropped, because it was considered to be via the 1937 session of the Congress AICC. It was considered to be in a way irrelevant to the nationalist movement because of the, you can say, specific connotation of the gods per se. The two two paras which were directly connected to the yearning of the nation, they were adopted. Now we will not go into the controversy per se, but that is the whole point here. I've done a whole session on this. You can watch that session to understand the controversy also, which is what is the Vande Mataram controversy. From the mains perspective also, UPSC will not ask you controversial questions. They can ask you conceptual questions. UPSC never expects a UPSC aspirant to solve important issues. They always ask the opinion of a student, not solutions. So you can watch the session, Vande Mataram session. There I have a very long discussion on how this controversy sits in the larger scheme of things. Same channel, just write Vande Mataram and my name and it will come through. Right? Are we all on the same page? Last, as I said, last anniversary which we have to discuss. Before that, question, come on. Consolidate this area. Last anniversary is Kakori. Seems easy, factual, but as I said, I want you to learn it properly. Why? Why are most of you answering B? The answer is D. All statements are correct. Bangladesh in 1875. Rabindranath Tagore sung it in 1896 session. 1905 it was adopted. So this is what is written here. See, 1875, Bangladesh. So please don't confuse. 5 minutes before I told you these things. So Anand Mat is published in 1882. Again, मतलब सुन नहीं रहे थे. First, it is published in Bangladesh as an episodic journal-based chapters. Later, he is going to compile it into Anand Mat. अरे भाई ये देखो मतलब प्योर कजनी इफेक्ट 15 मिनट्स व्हाट डज इट से यार मैं धीरे धीरे बोलता हूँ ठीक है इस बार धीरे धीरे बोलूँ song was first published in 1875 right Anand Mat before it came it serialized in a Bengali monthly magazine Bangladesh which Bankim was also the founding editor. The song Bande Mataram appeared in the first edition of this serialized concept and thereafter it will be compiled into Anand Mat. इतनी देर से यही तो बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ that it is first going to appear in Bangladesh then it is going to be put into Anand Mat in 1882. और धीरे कर सिंपल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड कॉन्सेप्ट ऐसा मत करो when it is a simple straightforward question which where all statements are correct I am more astonished that you are giving B as answer. Clear? Fatigue हो रहा है anniversary after anniversary sir no anniversary for me sir why should I all clear right okay first in Bangladesh then it is consolidated Anand Mat and how do we know it for the ISRO scientists in class we have a reference point also. Shri Aurobindo in 1907 tells us that this was first published in 1897. 1875 rather. Not 97, 1875. So people would Google this and say, sir, you are wrong. I'm telling you that I'm right because we have a cross-referencing point where we have corroborated through Bande Mataram written by Shri Aurobindo that the first edition came in 1875, later in Anand. इधर ही controversy हो गया कोई बात okay now the last anniversary which we have to do is of Kakori train action previously called as Kakori robbery but when we are taking our own money from the British why call it a robbery so Kakori is related to the HRA please remember this point Hindustan Republican Army not Hindustan Republican Socialist which is not HSRA HRA. So HRA, the Kakori train action happened in 1925, 9th August. 8 down train, which was taking the gold and money of the railways from Lucknow. It was robbed or we took our money back at Kakori. 8,000 rupees was taken. Unfortunately, the money was not properly disposed of. I mean, it was very difficult to keep the gold and money. And the 10 revolutionaries, which would include Ram Prasad Bismil, Asafullah Khan, Rajendra Lahiri, Chandrasekhar Azad, Sachindranath Bakshi, Keshav Chatterjee, M. Gupta, Murari Sharma, Lal, and Banwari Lal and Mukundi Lal, out of them, other than Chandrasekhar Azad, most of them are going to get caught. Chandrasekhar Azad is a master of disguise. Bismil Lahiri Khan Roshan Singh will be hanged, martyred. Sachindranath Sanyal and Sachindranath Bakshi will be sent to Kalapani. Chandrasekhar Azad is going to evade. He will then become a very important founding member with Bhagat Singh of the HSRA, Hindustan Socialist Republican Army. The time scale is 1924-25 for HRA and Kakori, 1928 to 31 for HSRA. So again, nothing out of the box per se here, can be asked in the examination. So you should remember it. Please, basic details of the main story of modern day. Now, with this, we have finished our what is called as anniversary series, which is Vittal Bhai Patel, Vallabh Bhai Patel, Birsa Munda. We have Rani Chennamma, and we have discussed the Pahari rebellion, the Chittur rebellion. We've discussed Kakori, and we have also discussed Vande Mataram, Sarojini Naidu. This is what we've discussed, right? Arya Samaj, yes. So total 10, 9 technically 10. Paika rebellion is also there, don't worry. Usko alag context mein. So I hope that your urge and your curiosity with regards to anniversaries is over. Can we all take that into consideration? I discussed UNESCO in the beginning because that is to bring you up to speed. Now with regards to this, you are in the right space. See, Aman, I will do that, but I will do that in the third session, which is, for example, 300, 500, 1000, 1500. Today, if I do too much, it will become too heavy. We'll have one more session, right? We've discussed Jan to June, July to December today. We'll discuss Jan to April for Conquer Prelims. In that, I will give you the final list. First, learn this. The list of 1000, 1500, 50, that will never. It is already a very big list. I want to control that list for you, not make it too heavy for you. Right. So, itna you can digest right now. Now, coming to things which you cannot digest or would like to digest, GI tags list 2. Yesterday, I gave you a list. It was dominated by West Bengal. Today, we are going to do a list which is dominated by Tamil Nadu. Not difficult, but no question is coming, so it does not really matter. So, our story of GI tags is going to start with 5 to 6 things which were added from Tamil Nadu. First being the Warrior cotton sari, known for its Korvai loom and the very iconic strips which are formed when the Korvai loom runs. Further, what is called as the jaggery powder coming out of the Kavindapadi Nattu Sarkari. Again, a very specific type of jaggery belt of Tamil Nadu, which produces it through sugarcane, very well known. Why are we studying it if no question coming? Abhishek, there's something called personal satisfaction. For me also, for you also. I said this yesterday also. If I don't do it, you will say you've not done it. If I don't do it, then I will not get a good night's sleep because I will think that I've not given you the list. So, a win-win situation where you are happy that you have the list. I am happy that I've given you the list. UPSC, if they one day wake up and say, oh my God, we have to also do GI, at least this will help you. But as I said, FOMO is the real reason, no real practical reason. Before you judge me for not giving you everything, I'm doing it. I've been very clear about this yesterday also. So anything can happen. So why not keep this list with you? Least priority. Yes. Last of your priorities of doing something like this. Then we have the Thuemali rice, which is known for pure jasmine rice, as it is called. This rice takes 135 days to 140 days to produce, known for its very strong white color. Then we have the Namakal Mamakal cookware. I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly, so I'm saying sorry beforehand itself. But this is a very traditional cookware which comes from Tamil Nadu, known for its durability and ancient cooking technique. It is again added as a GI for Tamil Nadu. Further, we have wooden toys which come from the Ambasundaram Choppu Samam, which is wooden toys coming from Ambasundaram. The very eco-friendly, sustainable toys, again added into the GI tag for Tamil Nadu. So this is the list for Tamil Nadu. Then I can ask you a question like this. I can ask you a question like this. As of right now, you'll be able to answer it. You can try. You will be able to answer it because you're too fresh. This is the type of question which comes mostly, or they can replace this with state. But because all of them are from Tamil Nadu, I can't really do anything here. So I had to make this question like this. All of them are correctly matched, but in the exam context, all of this will seem same only. In the exam context, it is going to become difficult. So most probably, this is a question which you will leave because you will not be able to remember so much. Then we have the Meerut Bugul, which was given a GI tag because of its colonial heritage, and it was linked to the colonial what we call as paramilitary military forces, where the Bugle was used to do march pasting. Till today it is used, but Meerut Bugle is one of the best brass and copper Bugles which are made till today, was added as into GI for UP. Thereafter, this is an important one. The Lepcha tribe, Lepcha community, two musical instruments were given GI. One is called as Tumbuk and the other one is called as Pulit, a bamboo flute and a string instrument. This you can remember, should remember. Should remember. I urge you to remember so that you can generally use it for the examination. Generally, I urge you that you remember it. Sikkim, Lepcha community, and two words, Tumbuk and Pulit. Right? GI list is over. Whatever I gave you yesterday and today, the next list which I will share with you is going to be in the last phase of Conquer Prelims only. It is already overwhelming. I know that. Don't have to worry. These two lists, if you can remember, very good. If you can't, no issues whatsoever. Now we transition out of this into simpler, straightforward topics. For example, the first state to make mining as a tourism project, Jharkhand. Nothing out of the box. Nothing out of the box per se. Jharkhand understands. I know that you're exhausted. That is, I'm only going to take another 10-15 minutes. Very basic concepts I want to discuss with you so that the list becomes as exhaustive as possible. First state to realize that mining can also be used for tourism. So therefore, they are now using it with the Central Coalfields Limited and Jharkhand state are working to make a circuit in which you can understand the mining communities also. Thereafter, because the Prime Minister visited Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple, it becomes important. Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple, why we are having a discussion, generally one of the grandest temples made by Rajendra Chola I. This temple is named Gangaikonda Cholapuram because Rajendra Chola went to the Pala sector, defeated certain rulers in what is called as the Ganga sector, bought back 2 pots of water of the Ganga, and therefore he named his new capital Gangaikonda Chola, the Chola who captured Ganga or conquered Ganga, and a temple was made. Now this temple till today is considered to be one of the grandest in that regard, wherein we have all the features of Dravida, which is the Gopuram, we have the Vimana, Shikhar, Mandapa. Then it has a water tank in this section, and we have the Parakrams on the side. So that ways it is one of the most celebrated temples which has Dravida style in its most, along with Brihadeshwara temple. Gopuram, Vimana, Shikhar, Garbhagriha, Mandapa, Parakram, and boundary wall along with the Dwarpals, which you can see here. It is a temple which represents pure, pure concept of Dravida style. So again, this is a temple which we generally discuss, but should be also in your focus. Rajendra Chola is the one who established it. Now, moving on, there was one more temple which was in the news. And the reason for it being in the news is because of two countries. The countries are Thailand and Cambodia. Thailand and Cambodia, as of right now, as we speak, are fighting for a temple, not specifically the temple, but the sector in which that temple is. It's called the Preah Vihear temple. I've discussed this previously also with you. This temple is a Shaivite temple, Shiva temple, but because it is based on a very strategic hill, the Cambodians also wanted, Thailand also wanted. Thailand used to militarily control it. Cambodia took it to the International Court of Justice. ICJ argued that in 1962 that it is actually Cambodian area, not Thailand. But from time to time, Thailand and Cambodia wage war over who will control this temple. It is a very important strategically located hill. That is why they are fighting for it. So Preah Vihear, Thailand, Cambodia, you should generally remember for the examination. Moving on, one of you said, sir, what about Paika? Paika rebellion I wanted to discuss from a different perspective. And that perspective was that the NCRT recently dropped Paika rebellion out of its chapters when it comes to the tribal and peasant rebellions. Now, that ways it becomes important to know it because it was removed from the chapter. The same year, UPSC removed, rather, NCRT removed Mughals from the books. UPSC asked a question on religious policy of Akbar. Same year, Paika rebellion has been removed. Maybe we get a question on Paika. Now, Paika rebellion, Paika word is used for the Gajapati rulers, for hereditary warriors who used to get what is called as tax-free land grants. Now, I'm sorry for my voice. I don't have a good throat. I have a sore throat, but I'm trying to fight that. So the hereditary warriors of the Gajapatis, Paikas as they're called, they were given tax-free land grants. But once the British enter into this sector, once they enter to this sector, they bring in the concepts of what is called as permanent settlement. And once permanent settlement is actually pushed through, there will be a lot of taxation on them, and they will fight. When they will fight, they will they will be clubbed into this larger concept of Paika. But the person who is remembered for the Paika rebellion, Gajapati rulers, Odisha, and the idea that they were trying to fight for their traditional rights, that person is Bakshi Jagbandhu Vidyadhar. This is the name you will find in standard books, in Spectrum, in courseware. This is the name which you will find. He is the one who fought this rebellion against the British. He was the one who asked villages to not give taxes and rebel against the British. Unfortunately, he will also be captured and killed. The idea is very simple, that this rebellion, I don't know why did NCRT drop it. There's nothing controversial here. For some reason, it was dropped. For some reason, it was dropped. So the idea is very simple. Bakshi Jagbandhu Vidyadhar, Paika, Odisha sector, and which is basically Bengal presidency per se. And the reason for it is permanent settlement coming into tax-free land grants, right? Trees, you can refer to this only because it is a compilation of all the monthly magazines also. Now, now this list, I am not the right person to teach, but I'm giving you this list. 7, we discussed tentative edition 6 yesterday. 7 Indian sites were also added to the UNESCO tentative list. This tentative list, all the sites are natural sites. Now, the right person to teach you something like this would be Mukesh sir. But what I've done is I have compiled a table for you so that all the information in one place. Meaning, the Deccan Traps in Mahabaleshwar, which is known for lava flow in the world, the geological heritage at St. Mary's Island, which is known for basaltic columnar formations, the Meghalayan caves, which is known for being a specific phase within Holocene itself, to the Naga Hill ophiolite, which is when the oceanic crust goes over a continental crust, Eramati Dibalu, which is a sand dune formation. Further, the Tirumala Hills, natural heritage, where we see a certain unconformity. One zone of the what we call as rock formation is not there itself. To the Varkala caves, all of the images which you see behind me, from the St. Mary's, what we call as lava formations, to the Varkala caves, to the what we call as the caves in Meghalaya, to Irabati Taibu, to these aspects. This is what has been inscribed under natural. So I've given you the list, I've given you the protection status also, I've given you the significance also. But really, from an art and culture perspective, this is not important. But because it is under UNESCO tentative list, I'm giving you the list also. I hope, I hope that works for you. That this resource is with you. If there's any doubt per se, I would really recommend and request that you ask the right person for it. I will not try to attempt to teach you geography here. That is something which I will not try to do. Now, now three simple topics are there. Very three simple topics. I need only 5 minutes more. There was certain doll which was in the news, not Labubu, but Daruma doll. When the Prime Minister went to Japan, he received a Daruma doll. Now, why is this generally important? Yes, Aman. Why is it generally important? Because the Daruma doll is linked to the Zen Buddhist tradition within Japan itself, and over and above that, it is linked to a certain bodhisattva, or what is called as a Buddhist saint, who traveled to Japan and started a tradition of meditating, looking towards the wall. And that is where this labu ball comes to, the Daruma doll comes through. The eyes of the Daruma dolls are not there initially. Later, when you have asked for some personal goal, if you meet it, you then make the eyes of the Daruma doll. This is the whole concept. So we have Daruma Daishi is the person who started this monastery, and Daruma doll is in the news. Japan is something which you have to remember, generally should remember. Now, Gyan Bharatam portal. This is the renaming of a mission which was already there, which was called as National Manuscript Mission. This mission was going nowhere, which is the National Manuscript Mission under the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts. And therefore, now the Gyan Bharatam portal has been started with digitization of our manuscripts as the main focus itself. And this is about digitization, manuscripts, metadata, and deciphering ancient scripts. Over and above that, this will now be done at a war footing, with Ministry of Culture at the helm, and a special purpose vehicle will be established within the Ministry of Culture, so that this can be done in the right way and at the right pace also. Now, we will end this session with one small discussion, which is Vrindavani Vastra. Vrindavani Vastra was in the news because the Assamese chief minister, or Assam's chief minister, wanted to get this back from London and the biggest chore bazaar in this world, which is nothing but the British museums. And why is this important? Because it is a silk tapestry which depicts the life of Lord Krishna, and was actually commissioned by the coach king Nara Narayan, and was also commissioned by Shankaradeva or Shankaracharya. So Vindavani Vastra, as you can see, they don't even understand what it actually means, but they like it because they stole it. The idea is this is lying in the British museums, a very holy cloth linked to Shankradeva, linked to Lord Krishna, and also done with a weaving technique which is called as lampas. This they are trying to get back. Let's hope that it comes back where it should be. So, with this, in the past 2 days, you have to understand what we've done. We have discussed anything and everything related to UNESCO, be it tangible, be it intangible. I have given you all the GIs, and even if you go through any of the, you can say monthly magazine of our institute, of any other institution, any topic which you will find other than this is an unnecessary topic. I have surveyed everything. We've done anniversaries also. I have surveyed everything which is in your digital universe, and whatever I found as 50 very important topics, I've covered it. Anniversaries, UNESCO's P Parva, I will discuss. P Parva is back. I will discuss in the next set. No, it is not for history optional, Palak. So, UNESCO, GI tags, organizations, people, anniversaries, everything I've done. So I hope that the past 2 days have been fruitful for you. I will see you in the second phase on the platform, whilst we will solve questions based on previous year questions. The annotated PPT of this, along with yesterday's session, will be in the link which is given in the description box and is pinned in the comment section. I will do one more thing, which is that I will push the link into my Telegram channel also, but you have to download it from there only. URTS has both sectional tests also and full course tests also. So I hope that these 3 hours over 2 days has been fruitful. I hope that now you are comfortable with art and culture, current affairs, along with ancient, medieval, and modern. So I know, Palak, it is written from a GS perspective, both prelims and mains. Thank you so much. I will see you soon. Take care.